All right, Miles, welcome back. Let's talk Atlanta Falcons. This is a team heading into the offseason that has a lot of momentum from the 2022 season, a lot of young talent on this roster. And head coach Arthur Smith came out and said some huge and very interesting comments at a key position, Miles, that could be massive for the Falcons going forward.
Yeah, Nick, and while they're saying some very interesting things about some players, maybe more in the positive realm, there are some players on this team that maybe just don't quite fit. Maybe they're too expensive for their level of play right now, and they are likely going to be a prime candidate to be cut, released, whatever the case may be for the Falcons restructured. It could be anything along those lines. That's why I want to ask the Falcons fans in the comments below, who do you think is a prime candidate on this team, whether they don't fit the scheme right now, their contract's too expensive, you think they might get cut? Let us know who you think in the comments below. But Nick, what has Arthur Smith been saying?
Yeah, so obviously you go into the offseason, anytime you're a team like the Atlanta Falcons, they're moving off Marcus Mariota. They drafted Desmond Ridder at quarterback last year. And the question a lot of people had were the Atlanta Falcons, with their cap space, with the draft capital they had, were they going to make a play for a quarterback, a veteran quarterback? Obviously Lamar Jackson had been rumored as a potential trade target. But Arthur Smith came out and made some very interesting comments about Desmond Ridder. And this is according to NBCSports.com. I'm going to quote Smith directly here. He says, "We're not naming any stars right now. There are a lot of things that can happen, but we're very excited about Des." And Smith went on to say that he thinks Ridder's, quote, "future is bright." He says, we're excited about Des, no different than we are about Tyler Algier, the 1,000-yard rusher, and Drake London, the very nice receiver, and the improvements they've made in the guys who are currently on our roster. All right, Mike, so I take my thoughts on this are basically this here. So you have an NFC South that is wide open, especially at the quarterback position. We talked about the Bucs. Brady's gone. The Saints have a disaster at quarterback the last few years. They seem to be trying to make a move probably for Derek Carr, and the Panthers look to be drafting a rookie most likely. They've been a debacle with the likes of Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield the last few seasons. One of the things we've talked about with the Falcons before is if they got a Lamar Jackson, they probably win the division running away if Desmond Ridder is not the guy. The fact that Arthur Smith comes out here and gives probably the biggest vote of confidence we've seen for Ridder. I mean, Smith is a curmudgeon, right? He's a guy he's from the Bill Belichick school of bedside manner, as I like to say. He is not the most positive guy in the world when it comes to his public appearances. The fact that he comes out publicly and says he's very excited about Desmond Ridder and thinks his future is bright is really a sign that he and the rest of the Falcons organization, in my opinion, really believe in this kid, that he is the future of the franchise and can be their franchise quarterback. What are your thoughts on this, Miles? Just everything with Ridder and the Falcons right now.
Yeah, no, and it's funny you say that because it's kind of true. It's like when Belichick would compliment a player, be like, Bill, Jacoby Myers came out this last game and he did really, really, he got 10,000 yards and 87 touchdowns. What do you think? Yeah, he did good. And then people be like, wow, what a compliment from Bill Belichick, I can't believe he sung his praises that highly. This is kind of like the Arthur Smith thing here, because I like the other thing he says later on in the interview, and they're like, what would you like about Desmond Ridder? Well, one thing he did good, this is what Smith said, is he went out there and he didn't repeat a lot of the same mistakes. So he's like, he made some mistakes and he didn't make them again. And that's, that was really good. So, it made me not that upset. So I like it. It is a vote of confidence from those style of guys. And I do like Ridder. The thing is, though, we truly don't really know that much about him yet. So you can't say either way. You can't, with like a clear head, come out here and say Desmond Ridder is not the guy, nor can you say he is 100% the guy. This wasn't a situation like a rookie quarterback came in, got an abundance of playing time, and really showed what they were made of. This is a big question mark, but there's a lot of potential there to go either way, good or bad. So the fact that Smith is coming out here and saying that, he's excited about it, excited about the young players, makes me think that what they see from Ridder in practices and everything in his limited game time is that he is leaning towards being a guy. And I think that's really exciting for the Falcons fans.
Yeah, especially when you look at the fact that if the Falcons were to make a move for a guy like Jackson, that's all their cap space. It's all their draft capital, right? So everything the past few years, moving off Julio Jones, moving off Matt Ryan, right? They've kind of put themselves in position this offseason to make big time moves, right? They got the rookie quarterback on the rookie deal. They're not spending a lot of money at the quarterback position. They got $55 million plus in cap space, according to overthecap.com. So this was the offseason they've been gearing up for the last couple of years to make big time moves across the roster, really retool and fix a lot of weaknesses. If they go veteran quarterback, that's all blown up, right? Because you're giving all that money to the quarterback. That's just the reality of the situation. But if Ridder is the guy, and Arthur Smith, based on his comments here, seems to think that he could at least improve enough to be the guy if he's not already there, then the Falcons can use that cap space and their draft capital to really retool this roster that has a lot of playmakers, especially on offense. They got a lot of great offensive guys, whether it's London, Algier, Kyle Pitts. Offensive line's a whole lot better. They got to fix some issues, I think, in the front seven on defense, but they have the cap space and the draft picks to do it. So it's one of those things, right, where, like you said, you don't know if Ridder's the guy or not, but if he is the guy and he can get better, then the Falcons are in such good position because they'll be able to make so many huge moves to fix everything else on the roster. So in some ways, it's a big bet on Desmond Ridder, but the fact of the matter is you have a guy in Arthur Smith who's probably coaching for his job. You know, you have Arthur Blank, the owner, who's gone impatient the last few years, it seems like, trying to get back to the days of going to NFC title games and Super Bowls. I don't think they would make a bet on Ridder if they didn't think he was worth the bet. So I think the fact that Arthur Smith and company is sticking with Ridder, so it seems, makes me think that Ridder really can be the guy for the Atlanta Falcons.